Hola y bienvenidas a Sex and Spanglish, where we empower mujeres to get in touch with their bodies, own their pleasure, and where we discuss all the cochinadas our abuelas didn't tell us about. My name is Ana Lopez. I'm a sexpert, future doctora, certified sex and life coach, proud Latina, and your go-to guide for all things sex. I'm here to help you kick vergüenza to the curb and teach you to have guilt-free sexual pleasure. Basically, I'm here to help you have mind-blowing sex without the guilt and shame you learned to have growing up. Let's be real. La comunidad latina doesn't talk about sex, pero que suerte tienes because this Latina does. It is my vision to have Latinas worldwide discussing sex with one another just like they do with chisme. Así que prepárate. I'm about to change the way you view sex para siempre. Welcome back to another episode of the Sex and Spanglish podcast. Today we are going to be going over my ebook, Just Don't Get Pregnant and Other Dichos, a Latina's Guide to Deconstructing Cultural Messages and Enjoying Sex Sin Vergüenza. But before we get into the episode, I do want to remind you that on May 5th, I am celebrating Sex and Spanglish's 5th and golden birthday. So be sure to get on the wait list. That is in the show notes. You will get all the details in the coming weeks about that, but you're going to want to make sure that you're on the wait list so you get all of the chisme, all of the details about that. So as I mentioned today, we're going over my ebook, Just Don't Get Pregnant and Other Dichos, a Latina's Guide to Deconstructing Cultural Messages and Enjoying Sex Sin Vergüenza. It is available for free download and the link is in the show notes, so go ahead and access your free copy today. So, probably, let's see, we're in 2025. So in 2022, so literally like 3 years ago, I started a series on TikTok that I called like the childhood series. So it's essentially how your childhood impacts your sex life. And anytime that I say that, people automatically assume that I'm talking about divorces and bad relationships and assaults. And like, yes, those things do impact your sex life. I hear you. But that's not what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the little things that you know have an impact on you, but you don't quite make the correlation between that thing and the bedroom. That is what I want to do because there are things that happened in your life that no tienen nada que ver with sex that are impacting the way that you show up in this world and impacting the way that you show up in the bedroom. So that's those are the dots that I want to connect, right? Okay, so back in Deja Ver, I want to make sure I have the episode correct. Episode 18 is called A mí no me pidas nada. And in that episode, I talk about the first dicho that we're going to go over today, which is don't ask me for shit, a mí no me pidas nada, or something along those lines, right? The essence essentially of that dicho. So again, the ebook is available for free download in the show notes. But what I'm going to be doing in this series is I'm going to be reading you the dicho of, in order, essentially the chapters of the book. I'm going to be reading it to you. So not because y'all can't read, but because sometimes it's nice to get read to, right? And so you can hear the inflection in my voice and how I talk about it. I'm also going to be expanding on what's written. And I'm going to be sharing examples of how this shows up. I do have examples in the book, but I want to share some examples that just happened to me like recently. And I also want to share the stories from you all. So I actually posted some videos on TikTok about this, like way back in the day when I was first writing this book. This book has been out for a while, by the way. But anyway, I obviously don't talk about it enough, which is why I'm doing this series. But these videos blew up. So I wanted to share some of the comments that were in the videos, right? I want to share what was said, and then I want to take a handful of them. I've like carefully selected the ones that I want to dive deeper into, and I'm going to be talking about from a coaching perspective, how to manage that, right? Because people resonated in different ways. This will make more sense once I actually do it. I just want to give you the outline of what we're doing here. Okay, so first things first, I want to remind you to go back and listen to episode 18, A mí no me pidas nada. I talked in depth about this dicho, but in this episode, I'm going to be reading it, which is essentially my thoughts in a more concise format. And then I'm going to get into the comments and all the social media and all that jazz. Okay, so just don't get pregnant and other dichos. A Latina's guide to deconstructing cultural messages and enjoying sex sin vergüenza. Whenever I tell my clients that their childhood impacts their sex life, they usually respond with something to the effect of, yeah, my parents' divorce really fucked me up. Or, I wish my mom would have just left my dad. He treated her like shit. I know. If I would have had someone to talk to about my sexual assault, then I wouldn't be having these problems. If I would have just left my long-term boyfriend the first time he cheated on me, then I wouldn't be so fucked up. The reality is, divorces, abusive relationships, and sexual assault can and do impact your sex life. What we don't realize, however, is that your sex life is impacted by far more than traumatic experiences. Nuance plays a huge role in the way you relate to sex and sexuality. And, as a Latina, there are cultural nuances that have likely impacted you in ways you've never imagined. This guide contains 7 common dichos shared in Latin households and an in-depth explanation as to how they contribute to the vergüenza we experience when it comes to sex as grown-ass adults. Before we get into it, I need to provide a warning. This guide is for informative purposes only. Use it as a catalyst for self-reflection. In other words, how does it make total fucking sense that you relate to sex in the way that you do? Not from a place of blame, self or otherwise, but from a place of curiosity and compassion. You are not allowed to use this guide as a way to blame yourself or start a fight with your parents, the clergy members of the church, or anyone else for that matter. Blame isn't going to get you anywhere different from where you are now. Rant over, let's dive in. A mí no me pides nada. This phrase is often told to children as they are going into the store. You might have also heard, we're going to the store, but don't ask me for shit. A majority of the time, this phrase is used for one of 2 reasons. Number 1, lack of money, or number 2, lack of time. A parent doesn't have the money to buy anything unplanned, so they don't want their child asking for anything. Here's why. Imagine consistently having barely enough money to provide for your family, and then your child asking you for a toy or additional snack. Anytime your child asks you for a toy or additional snack that you cannot afford, you are reminded, yet again, that you're barely making it. That's gotta feel like shit. Of course, parents don't tell you this, so instead they just say, a mí no me pidas nada, or we're going to the store but don't ask me for shit. Or maybe your parents had money, but they were short on time. They were always running around like a chicken with their head cut off. They worked a lot and didn't always have a lot of extra time. They needed to get to the store, get what they needed, and leave so they could have dinner ready before they went off to their second job. They didn't have time to go down the toy aisle just to look. Again, your parents didn't explain this to you, so you just made the assumption that asking for anything you want was bad or wrong. And that if you one day dared to ask, you would get in trouble. As an adult, you can probably understand where your parents were coming from, but as a child, all you heard was don't ask for what you want, and if you do ask, you're not going to get it, and you'll get in trouble. So, you do what anyone else who heard this over and over and over again would do. You stopped asking for shit. The problem is that this didn't stop when you became an adult. Your brain held on to this habit of not asking for anything for fear of being told no. I mean, who the hell likes rechazo? I'll wait. Now, as an adult, you don't ask for what you want, and you may not even give yourself permission to want anything. And no amount of money or time or partner can change this for you. You're likely beating yourself up for not mustering up the courage to buy yourself that one thing that you really want, even though you have the money in your bank account. You're judging yourself for not taking advantage of your PTO and actually taking a vacation instead of spending it binge watching true crime on Netflix. You have the most giving partner or other loved one in the world, yet you struggle accepting what they offer you. No matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to do it. What's sex got to do with it? We don't give ourselves the opportunity to figure out what we want. I mean, what's the point? If we aren't supposed to ask for it anyway. What's the point if we're going to get in trouble if we do ask? So, we don't know what we want, and we don't ask for what we want, leaving our pleasure in someone else's hands, which means sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. It's a surprise every time. For some, this means we find someone who can, quote unquote, do it the way we like it. We stay in the relationship or situationship for the wrong reasons, for the sex. This means that we often subject ourselves to shitty relationships and sometimes even abuse for the hopes of having an orgasm. If this is you, I want to tell you two things. One, you are not alone. This story is so fucking common, it's scary. I was once you. And from the work that I've done, I can now say this sin vergüenza. Yes, I stayed in an abusive relationship just for the sex. No, I'm not a sex addict. That's not even a thing, but that's a conversation for another guide. I simply enjoy sex, and I chose to stay in an abusive relationship because I enjoyed the sex. Number 2, don't use this realization to judge yourself. Our brain is wired to seek pleasure, which means it makes total fucking sense that you are subjecting yourself to pain in order to seek pleasure. Okay, now what? Number 1, start noticing where you aren't asking for things. Are you forcing yourself to eat food you didn't order? Are you subjecting yourself to an uncomfortable sex position or conversation? Just take note of all the areas you aren't asking for things. Also, take note of where you already are asking for what you want, even if it's of yourself. Are you taking a shower when you want to? Are you asking your kids to clean up after themselves? Are you asking for your job to pay you on payday? Note, even if you aren't explicitly asking for these things, you are in some way asking for them. Number 2, what are the implications of not asking for what you want? What are the implications of asking for what you want? Get specific. Okay, y'all, that was chapter 1 of Just Don't Get Pregnant, a Latina's Guide to Deconstructing Cultural Messages and Enjoying Sex Sin Vergüenza. Again, the free download is available in the show notes if you want to read it on your own, but I'm still going to be reading each and every chapter to you and breaking it down. So now I want to get into the comments that were left on this video. So I did a video about this in 2022 on TikTok. 39 people saved this video and 36 people commented. The reason I'm sharing this is because normally I will have at most maybe 10 comments on my videos. This video got 36. Normally I have around 5 saves on my videos, and that's exagerando, right? That's if it's like really doing something. 39 people saved this video. This tells me that so many people resonated with this video and the message in it. So I want to share some of the comments that I received. And actually, yes, I'm going to do this. So I wasn't originally planning on doing this, but I want to read all of them to you. So give me 1 second to find the video and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Okay, so this correlation makes so much sense. Thanks for sharing. Goodness, I don't ask my BF, and when he gifts me, I feel I'm not worthy of it. I feel guilty even with the smallest things. I try to pay for my expenses or offer to pay. Maybe deserving is a better word than worthy. So in other words, she thought she wasn't deserving of the things that her boyfriend was offering her. This is so true. As a kid, I could never start eating or playing till my mom said it was okay, and I couldn't ask or she would get mad. And as an adult now, my husband always asks why I never start or touch him. She means initiating sex. I always wait till he starts touching me and then grabs my hand and put it on him. I'm slowly working on opening up and asking for things and trying new things, and I can say our relationship in the bed and outside is so much better now. I still have a long way to go, but with his help, I'm sure I can do it. He has been a great man to me, and I'm happy he understands and is patient with me. Well, as me, I just say it's all okay. I'm okay, even though I'm not. I want certain things to be done or want to be done to me. And I mean, how can I ask? And then someone said yes. Someone put the wide-eyed emoji. Great, great content. How can I begin to correct myself in this aspect, especially in the bedroom department? My partner always is asking me if I'm okay or if I like it. This was very helpful. I used to be able to ask for things, but then my husband began questioning who, what, when, why, so I stopped asking for anything from him or others. And then someone said, oh my God, can you make a podcast, please? Which tells me that I am not talking about my podcast enough on social media. Someone said, I try to explain this to my primos, primas, and they don't get it. Break the generational trauma. Exclamation point emoji. Ugh, I always asked, but I just picked the wrong men and I settle because I feel bad for them. Child abandonment issues here. And then I said, why do you feel bad for them? She said, I feel like I'm abandoning him while he needs me. I know it's my abandonment issues or what my mother used to say, te casaste, te chingaste, so I settle. Okay, so those were the comments on the video. And now I want to go deeper into some of those comments. So I hand selected 4 comments. And I want to provide a coaching perspective on this because I know that these people are not alone in feeling this. So the first comment says, goodness, I don't ask my boyfriend. And when he gifts me, I feel like I'm not worthy of it. So this was the person who said deserving was a better word. She doesn't believe that she deserves what her boyfriend gifts her. And she also doesn't feel that she deserves to even ask, right? And so what I want to say is this: who decides whether or not you are worthy or deserving? I'm going to give you an answer because there's one answer. You do. You are the one who decides whether you are worthy or deserving. So this tells me, if this is you, that you believe that you are not worthy and you believe that you are not deserving. And this isn't just about receiving. This tells me you believe this in general. You believe you exist and you believe I am not worthy and you believe I am not deserving. So I want you to stop telling yourself that. You get to decide whether or not you are worthy or whether you're deserving. And so I want you to stop telling yourself that. And I want you to implement this question into your life. So if it shows up in your brain as worthy, if it shows up in your brain as worthy, I want you to ask yourself throughout the day, just randomly, what if I am worthy? What if I am worthy? You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to answer the question. I just want you to ask yourself, what if I am worthy? Just do that. That's all you got to do. If it shows up as deserving, what if I am deserving? What if I am deserving? And another one that wasn't mentioned, but this is a very common one that I hear, enough. I'm not enough. What if I am enough? What if I am enough? I did a video a while back on leading questions and about asking questions that essentially force you to answer in a way that benefits you. This is an example of that. I want you to start asking yourself leading questions that are going to essentially lead you to an answer that benefits you. When you say well, what if I'm not enough? What you're essentially saying is, I'm not enough. What if I'm not worthy of that, right? And this person is actually outright telling herself. Why would you tell yourself that? I understand that that's what you believe, but come on, girl, stop. But you notice that it's happening. So if you notice that it's happening, that is an active choice that you are making. When you are aware that you're having the thought of oh, I feel like I'm not worthy, I feel like I'm not enough, I feel like I don't deserve it. When you are aware that that is happening and you continue to choose to think that thought, because it's a thought, not a feeling. I know we say I feel, that's not a feeling. You're telling yourself that you're not worthy, that you're not enough, that you're not deserving. And because you're aware of it and you still tell yourself that, that is an active choice that you are making. You are actively choosing to tell yourself that you're not worthy, that you're not deserving, and that you're not enough. And you can be mean to yourself if you want. Like, I'm not going to stop you. I would rather you be nice to yourself. But if you're going to be mean to yourself, there is a rule. You have to acknowledge that that is an active choice that you are making. It's not happening to you. You are doing it to yourself. So again, if you want to stop doing this, stop, right? Stop telling yourself that you're not worthy. Stop telling yourself that you're not enough. Stop telling yourself that you're not deserving. And implement the question, what if I am deserving? What if I am enough? What if I am worthy? And again, you don't have to answer it. Just ask the question throughout the day and see what happens. Okay, next comment. This is so true. As a kid, I could never start eating or playing till my mom said it was okay, and I couldn't ask or she would get mad. And as an adult now, my husband always asks me why I never start or touch him. So for this person, they basically they had to earn, it says she could never start eating or playing until her mom said it was okay. Okay, so basically she had to get like an okay from an authoritative figure. So as a child mom, and it sounds like maybe now like that authoritative figure or that authority has been placed on her husband. So it's like she has to get an okay from someone outside of herself. And what I want to offer to anyone that is having this, experiencing this, you are your own authority. I'm not saying that in a relationship you can't have conversations about things that you are thinking about doing and all of that. Great. Yes, that is a part of a relationship. That said, you are the authority. You get to decide. If you want to initiate, then initiate. And if your partner says no, then they can say no because they're in full authority over their body. I want y'all to start taking back your own authority. And this is how you do it. When you notice yourself kind of like wanting to ask people for second opinions or what they think about any decision you're going to make, I want you to stop and just go through with the decision that you've already made. I want you to start building that trust with yourself because every time you ask for an opinion about a decision that you've made, guess what you're doing? You're reinforcing this idea that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And that is not helpful. So I want you to make some decisions this week and I want you to go and do the thing. And then afterwards, you can share about the decision that you make. Notice I said share. I didn't say ask for an opinion. They might give you their opinion, but I want you to just be like, hey, I made this decision and this is what I did. I want you to stop asking other people's opinions. It is not because you can't ask for other people's opinions, but a lot of times y'all are asking for opinions that you don't even need opinions on. You already know what the fuck you want to do, and you're just trying to get validation from other people. So I want you to start validating yourself instead of looking for the validation from other people, because this is going to be a whole other episode, but external validation is actually not a thing. It's always you. When you feel validated, it's because you're validating yourself. And when you're not feeling validated, it's because you're not validating yourself independent of where the validation came from. Okay? So again, if this is you, stop asking other people for validation. Okay? Okay, third comment. Well, as me, I just say it's all okay. I'm okay, even though I'm not. I want certain things to be done or want to be done to me. I mean, how can I ask? My friend, if this is you, you're going to hate this answer. You just ask. There is not a certain way to ask for things. You just ask. And the reason why you're not asking is because you are afraid of hearing the word no or hearing what they're going to say in response. And if they say no, it's not even about them saying no. It's they're going to say no, and then you're going to be an asshole to yourself. So just decide right now, no matter what this person says, I'm going to ask anyway. People are allowed to say no, and it means nothing about you. You can initiate sex, which is essentially asking for sex, and your partner is allowed to say no. That is a thing, just like you're allowed to say no. But the reason why asking for anything feels so shitty is because you don't do it. And then you've built up this huge story about what it feels like and all of this stuff when you don't even do it. So the way they do it, this is like exposure therapy kind of, is you're going to start asking for things. And Going back to what I said in the chapter, a mí no me pidas nada, you already do ask for things, but you're going around telling yourself that you don't know how to ask. When you ask for things anyway, when you go to a restaurant and you order food, you're asking for food. When you go to the store and you're buying something, you're asking to purchase those things with your money, right? You're asking for a trade. When you go to the library and borrow a book, you are asking to borrow the book. Now, it probably doesn't sound the same as like, hey, can I do this or can we do that? Right? It probably doesn't sound the same, but it's still asking. And so I want you to do that reframe. I know this sounds like semantics and that we're just changing words around, but it is actually factually accurate that you are asking for things. And so I want you to acknowledge where you are already asking for things. Just like I mentioned in the book, right? I want you to go back and do those two journal prompts, right? Of where are you already asking for help, okay? And we're going to use that as evidence to prove that you can ask, and you do ask all the time. Because you're telling yourself you can't when you actually can. You are physically capable of doing so, and you do already, but you're telling yourself you don't. So you're creating this fear around asking when you already do it without fear. So let's just do it some more. Let's up the ante here, right? Okay, next comment. Ugh, I always ask, but I just pick the wrong men and I settle because I feel bad for them. Child abandonment issues here. Okay, so let's talk about the first part of this, of picking the wrong men. Why is it that you're picking the wrong men? Like, I understand that it's possible to get into a relationship with someone, like an exclusive relationship of some kind, whatever that looks like for you, with someone that you don't necessarily want to be in a relationship. I get that. It happens. That said, this happens because y'all let little shit slide. It's just like, I don't like this thing. Like it was just one time. It's just this one thing. And I tell my clients this all the time, that abuse is not, that's not where we're setting the bar, right? So I hear this all the time of like, well, he doesn't hit me. Okay, great. That's the bare minimum. Why is anything above that where you're setting the bar? That is ridiculous. I want you to decide if you're dating right now, right? If you're looking for a partner, I want you to write down exactly what it is that you're looking for and what are your deal breakers. Is it that they smoke? Is it that they live at home? Is it whatever? And if you meet someone that is one of those deal breakers, I want you to end it. Stop talking to them. There's no reason that you need to continue talking to people when you already know that they're the wrong person for you. Okay? So that's first and foremost. We're not like, yes, some of you are picking the wrong men, but it's not something that's happening to you. You know that you're doing it. So then the second part of this is I settle because I feel bad for them. But okay, you can feel bad for someone and still leave. But what's happening there is you're loving them more than you love yourself. You want to help them so that you feel better about yourself. And you may not be consciously thinking this, but that's typically what happens. It's like, oh, well, if I, can help them, it's almost like a buffer, like a procrastination of focusing on yourself. It's like an avoidance tactic. But what if you just focused on yourself? Okay? All right. So those are all the comments that I wanted to go over. I also want to do an episode. Sorry, I'm deciding on the fly here, y'all. So I really want to go through my podcast, like all the old episodes, and not re-record them, but I want to like share my thoughts. And I was going to do this with the A mí no me pidas nada episode, but I think I'm going to just create a new episode. So stay tuned next week for that episode, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye. If you have made it this far, this means that you have listened to the entire episode, assuming that you didn't skip any parts. So, first and foremost, I want to thank you. It is truly an honor and a privilege to get to share my knowledge and expertise every single week. And the fact that people listen is mind blowing to this day. So, thank you. And before you go, I have a quick favor to ask of you. If you have gained anything from this podcast at all, if you learned one thing, if you've subscribed to the podcast, if you plan on coming back next week, if you have applied anything that I've taught you and it has brought you amazing results or even good results, right? Like if you've gotten results from what I've shared by applying what I've shared here in the podcast, I want to ask you to rate this podcast. I'm currently in the process of sharing the impact that this podcast has on the listeners, on the audience, on you all. And that means that I need to hear from you all. I know that people are listening because I see the subscriber number go up each and every week. I see the amount of time being listened to each episode. I see that go up every single week. So I know y'all are listening to entire episodes. I know y'all are listening to these episodes multiple times. I know people are subscribing. So the analytics say so, but I want to hear from you all. So if you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review. So, give it a star rating and share 1 to 2 sentences about something that you've learned from the podcast, what you think listeners need to know. If you are on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment letting me know the impact that this episode has had on you. If you are listening on Spotify or some other platform, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at Sex and Spanglish. You can also send me an email, anna@sexandspanglish.com, and let me know what is resonating for you. What did you take from this podcast and apply to your own life where you've gotten results? Tell me what you like. Also, tell me what you don't like and provide me with suggestions for topics and questions that you might have. I also want to remind you that I do have an anonymous question box. So feel free to go to the show notes and submit your questions there, and I may share them on the podcast anonymously. Of course, all of that is in the show notes. But again, thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. And if there has been anything that you've learned from this episode, please, please, please do me the favor and let me know, whether it be through Apple review, whether it be through DM, whether it be on your stories and sharing like a little snippet and tagging me in it, whether it be a comment on YouTube. I just ask that you share what your thoughts are on this podcast. I'll talk to y'all next week.